All right, Mavericks fans, we are one day away from the 2022 NBA trade deadline coming and going. If the Mavs make a move, we will break it down here on this channel, so subscribe, turn on those notifications, because I promise you, if there is any movement on trade deadline day, we will have you guys covered. And, of course, beyond the trade deadline as well, buyout market, second half of the season playoffs, and then, of course, next offseason. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. And with that being said, let's get you guys caught up on the latest Mavericks trade rumors. You're watching Dallas Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, here for the latest Dallas Mavericks trade rumors and buzz. As again, we are just about 24 hours away, just over 24 hours away from the deadline coming and going. Let's start with Buddy Hield. So Buddy Hield gets traded to the Indiana Pacers, and a report has dropped that the Pacers are open to moving Hield despite landing him in that Tyrese Halliburton trade. We know what he's all about. Good floor spacer. Basically is just a three-point shooter at this point. Doesn't shoot much from inside the arc. And obviously with Tim Hardaway Jr. going down a few weeks ago, he could be an ideal replacement for him. Here's Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype talking about Hield's future. While Indiana has to wait until the offseason to entertain any Malcolm Brogdon trade talks, the Pacers could move another guard by Thursday. They are open to flipping Buddy Hield to another team before the deadline, Hoops Hype has learned. I would love Buddy Hield in Dallas. I think he's a kind of player that fits in any system, in any scheme, because he's a catch-and-shoot three-point guy. The efficiency has dipped a little in recent years, but he also takes a ton of threes, and Sacramento's kind of been, discombobulated the last couple of years. I think he'd be in that 38-40% range with Dallas, catching passes from Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson in this Mavericks offense. I think he'd come in, give you 14 to 16 points a game, shoot almost 40% from three, and, be okay on defense. Certainly not a great defender, but the Mavericks are a good enough defensive team right now where he could come in, start, come off the bench, either role, and be a really impactful player. So what do you guys think? Play GM for me. Should the Mavs make a trade for Buddy Hield? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Get your votes in on this one right now in the comments. Let's talk Goran Dragic. Are the Mavs the favorites to land him? Well, let's get you caught up because he is under contract with the Raptors. Now, the expectation as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline is that Dragic will not be traded, which means he probably is going to be bought out. I think both sides would agree to a buyout. And if that happens, which we've been talking about for months here, the Mavs would be in the mix, probably the favorite to land Goran Dragic. In a buyout situation, obviously we'd have to go sign him. And look, Dragic should be fresh. He's only played in 5 games this year for Toronto. Fred Katz of The Athletic had this to say about Goran. People around the league have assumed that situation will end in a buyout, and if and when it does, the Mavericks might be the favorites and maybe the Bucks, among others, to sign him. Now, obviously, Goran Dragic is a guy that's going to have suitors. It's not like it would just be Dallas, but there's been mutual interest for a long time. Luka Doncic would love to play with him. He could be a mentor for him. There would be some level of comfort there as both those guys are Slovenian, and Dallas could use a bench point guard, which is something we have talked about for a very, very long time. Now, Dragic, his last 7 years with Miami before this year, again, he's only played 5 games with Toronto. He was tremendous. 16 points, over 5 assists a game, 45% from the floor, 36.5% from three-point range. I don't think you're getting this production, but I think you could get 8 to 12 points, 4 or 5 assists a game. He could run your second-team unit at the point guard position, and he would give you another creator and ball handler, which the Mavs really, really need. Because after Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson, they're pretty thin in that department in terms of guys who can create offense for not only themselves, but for other guys as well. I feel pretty good that I'll say if Dragic does not get traded and he does get buyout, I'll say it's 70% he ends up at Dallas. I feel pretty good about that. I think the mutual interest is real. Now, obviously, if someone trades for him at the last second here, well, the Mavs could be out of luck. But again, I'm not trading for Goran if I'm Dallas, but if he gets bought out, I would absolutely sign him. Now, guys, be sure to subscribe to Chat Sports because Chat Sports, our main channel, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV, is what makes this channel possible, Dallas Mavericks Today. But more importantly, it's where I will be live tomorrow with my pal Chase Sr. We're going to have you guys covered, wall-to-wall coverage of the NBA trade deadline. We'll go live at 1 o'clock Eastern. The deadline passes at 3 Eastern, so we'll be live for a couple of hours. If a major trade happens before 1 Eastern, we might even go live for that as well. Could Ben Simmons get traded? Could James Harden get traded? And yes, of course, if the Mavs make any moves, we'll break that down and, of course, have you covered over here as well. Subscribe. Join us. That's the link right there, youtube.com/chatsportstv. No one, and I mean no one on the internet, is going to have more in-depth coverage of the NBA trade deadline than we will here at Chat Sports. All right, let's get to our third story, and then we'll go ahead and sign on out here. Apparently, the Dallas Mavericks were in on Caris LeVert. This one coming from Jake Fisher. He basically said, look, they were in it until the 11th hour. LeVert obviously ended up getting traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I find this pretty interesting. Fisher reports that this is what a trade was going to look like. LeVert to Dallas for Tim Hardaway Jr. and some sort of draft pick. I would guess probably a first, since Hardaway is currently injured. I don't know if Hardaway in a second would have gotten it done. Even though that Rick Carlisle obviously is in Indiana and really likes THJ, I still would have to think it would probably be a first, considering LeVert is younger and a guy with probably a little higher of a ceiling. That's pretty interesting that was almost a deal that happened. Now, I think what you're seeing here is the Mavs are trying to upgrade this roster despite wanting to keep Dorian Finney-Smith and Jalen Brunson. Like, they want to make a move without losing one of those guys. Now, they're content with moving Tim Hardaway if someone will take him, because he's injured right now, right? If you can move his contract and get an impact player right away, that is certainly something that Dallas would be interested in. But it didn't happen with LeVert, but it sounds like it was pretty darn close. And quite frankly, I might have pulled the trigger on that trade. That would have been pretty interesting for a guy who's averaging 19 in 4.5 this year. Not shooting the ball great from the outside, but he could have been a guy that started or came off the bench for this team. So you tell me, would you have done this trade? LeVert for Hardaway in, a first or a second, maybe 2 seconds, something like that. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Let us know in the comments if you would have done this rumored trade. All right. Quick reminder, we'll be live tomorrow, Chat Sports, youtube.com/chatsportstv. It'll be myself, Chase Sr., the entire Chat Sports production team behind the scenes will be doing great work helping us get you guys informed with every single move that happens and every rumor that's circulating as well. Subscribe, copy that link below, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the NBA trade deadline.